This is Erica Mae Stewart. For years, I've been debating in my head, is she just a really big narcissist or a full-on abuser? After 22 years of living with her or living in close proximity, I can confidently say that she is a full-blown emotional abuser, and it's laughable how this has never been brought to the forefront. To start off, I have never received an apology for anything that she has done wrong, which will definitely come into play later. This person has a problem with taking accountability and either gives the silent treatment or tries to shift the blame somewhere else, usually on me, or just tries to downplay her involvement in the situation. No apology, not even a sorry. Next, throughout grade school, Biz was a person that literally had no idea how to love both siblings at the same time. In elementary school, when I was getting good grades, I got all of the shine while my brother was treated like an idiot. Then came the role reversal in middle school when I stopped getting good grades when it was only a C, which is a passing grade. I got treated like an irredeemable Neanderthal. Speaking of middle school, I remember one day for Boy Scouts, we were having patrol position votes. My brother was running for patrol leader, but I voted for the person that made the best case for the position, and that person ended up winning in a landslide, meaning that my vote, specifically just one vote, it didn't matter that much. On the whole ride home, she called me the lowest of the low, the stupid of the stupidest of the stupid. When, like, one, I was not told that I had to vote for my brother. Speak up. I don't have the ability to read minds. And two, she didn't explain herself much. She just kept on going for low blow insults and deflecting from explaining what her actual problem was, which is definitely a theme. When we got back home, I was locked out of the house all over a Boy Scout vote. Something that, by the way, like, I was forced into that stuff by her. I never wanted to go into Scouts, but she made me. Then, like, when I laid off of the Scout stuff, stopped going to all of the meetings, she would not cooperate. She would not talk sensibly, and like there would be even more silent treatment until I finished my Eagle Scout project and became an Eagle Scout. That's another theme for her: conditional love and drop of the hat, petty grudges. Like, when you're acquiescing to her wishes, then everything's good. You're acting like how you're supposed to. But the moment that you don't, or you have like a little bit of pushback, then everything that you've ever done, everything that you've built up, it just gets invalidated and forgotten, and you're just a bad person. That's like a very flawed way of evaluation. Very toxic mindset for someone to have, especially an adult. Like, what are you teaching the children when you act this way? Like, for most of my life, this person has put like herself at the forefront rather than like raising. I was gonna say raising us, but I would say like raising me. Like, when it comes to behaviors as an adult, like there's a certain way you have to act around children, and like a way that you have to act like how you want them to grow up to be. This person has been very like self-centered when it comes to how they would like to react to situations. So yeah, getting back to the middle school grade stuff, this irrational behavior lasted all the way up until high school, and I graduated on a day that was supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life. She ruined it by downplaying it at every chance because it wasn't done her way. I had to transfer away from the original school that I was going to because she ruined the experience for me, constantly calling the school security to check in with me and even treating my brother as a parent at school of sorts, being able to monitor my behavior in the 2 out of 7 classes that we had together in our sophomore year. Oh yeah, by the way, I didn't type this in, but also she put me in the IEP program, which is special ed, and I don't necessarily need special ed. Like, I'm a functioning guy. Like, I think that was because like some of my work wasn't getting done in freshman year, but like I can function. I'm not a special ed guy. But like that was another thing. Like that was another type of thing that was affecting me at the school, which would, even when I transferred over to the other school, it didn't affect me that much, just like the way that they ran it over there. But like that's another thing. I should have never been put in the special ed program. Um Getting back on topic, yeah, in a world with her, there was no privacy, no room to grow into an adult. Transferring to the other school was nice, but I've now come to realize that any school would have been great. Even the previous school that I was at that was bad, it would have been good if she was not involved in it. Going back to graduation, when I said that I wanted to be a journalist, something that I had practiced for years, she said she immediately started talking down on it. And when I wasn't budging because like this is something that, like I said, I had been like practicing it for 4 years, not 4 years, 4 years, like going to like basketball games and like reporting and like writing articles on it. Like when I wasn't budging, she was like, just pick something so you don't have to live with your brother for the rest of your life. It was in like that type of tone. It's like, I don't know what's so bad about being a journalism major. I don't know. So yeah. I went into education just to drop that stuff for a similar pathway to journalism, which is communications with a film focus. So I wasted all of that time not trying to live life for me, trying to live life for her based on her suggestions, even though like they ended up being wrong. And like even though I wasn't right on the money with like just straight up journalism, like hey, like for my videos, like that is like there is some journalism that is involved, and then like since I'm going to film, like there is journalism involved in that, so I wasn't far off. I eventually ended up back where I wanted to be, but I wasn't in there from the beginning because like we're commenting about, oh, pick something that pays good so you won't have to live with your brother for the rest of the life, just assuming that like, and this is coming off of the high school stuff where like she downplayed it and all that. She thinks she has no faith in me to actually have a successful career. And actually I didn't even type this, but when it came to like evaluating stuff, she's like, oh, so when it came to like talking about careers post high school, she's like, oh, are you gonna join the army? Like she's acting like I'm a person that has like no future, and it's just like kind of weird to think about just because I went to a school that she doesn't like. But anyways, this person, just because of the college situation, this person is literally a deterrent for me being able to live a happy life, the life that I wanted to live, because I obviously, like I said, I had a plan set up, but they ruined it with their comments talking about the page, talking about, you better pick something so you don't have to live with your brother for the rest of your life. So they like kind of convinced me to go into something that they kind of wanted. Anyways, switching topics to their biggest sin, the amount of police members that have been called on me by her is very unacceptable. I'm not gonna lie. Usually what happens is that she instigates situations, then when I react in kind of like a normal, it's kind of like debatable to call it normal, but like if you're annoyed, then you're gonna act annoyed. It is what it is. So when I react, she always calls the police and plays the victim card. And the police ate it up every single time and choose to believe her side of the story, even with no evidence. So I have to question like the biases that go into that, especially like when I was growing up. Is it because, I'm probably not going to see it right here. It could be like an age thing, potentially a gender thing, especially like coming from someone that is like a black man. That could potentially play a factor. Now that I am like, I didn't think about it at the time, but like now growing up, like I think like the reason why is it's kind of like double, like the age thing and the gender thing, especially like when you're calling the police on a black man. Um, so and something that I want to say, you should never call the police on someone. I saw like I was just looking at videos on this police activity channel, and there was like this grandmother that called the police on her grandson, and then like when he charged at the police with a knife, he got shot, and then like the kids, or like I guess like his brothers and like the family, they're like, oh, why did you shoot him? Well, like whenever you call the police on someone, like you have to be like a psychopath, because you have to be willing to the possibility that they're going to get shot or beaten. It just is what it is. So if you are a parent calling the police on your child, like unless they have like a gun or something, then like that is like a really bad idea. Like you are putting your child in danger, especially over something as petty as this, where like it was just like we didn't agree on certain stuff. So yeah. Because of her police calls, I've been sent to a mental hospital 2 times. It was the same one. One of those times, which I can factually say, I can't like bust into her phone or anything, but I can factually say that she was recording me walking out of the apartment in handcuffs. Like she gets enjoyment out of that, which is very problematic. But yeah, both of these incidents caused me to miss out on a week of school. And like in the end, like a week of school respectively. Like in the end, like I was having a decent time at school, even though it was at a school that like I didn't like. Like I had some friends there, and like I have to get taken away from that life just to go to a mental hospital where like I'm not getting any help, because at the end of the day, I'm not like an actual real deal mental hospital patient. Save it for folks that actually need it more, instead of like for a guy that's like, you didn't like how, like you don't like how I don't, you don't like how like I talk, or like you don't sometimes like I don't say stuff. I remember like one time, hey, nah. But like I remember like sometimes like I just really don't react, and like sometimes that's like an offense to call the police. But yeah, save the mental hospital for folks that actually need it. But yeah. Also, I have to mention that after the first time in 7th grade when I got out, on my big day, instead of just apologizing, she broke the news that she has cancer. Just a way to control the situation and find something to hide behind in a moment that's all about me. She made it about her. Very selfish move. Even if it was true, it's just a selfish move that like it's supposed to be my big day. You can apologize for sending me there in the first place, missing out on all that school. But no, she starts like crying at the table saying that she has cancer, and like she kind of just made the whole moment all about her, and it was just kind of like really inappropriate. But yeah, there was this one time when she drove me to the hospital on her own, and I had to call one of my relatives to avoid going. Then there was a time when I expressed not liking the toxic school environment that she helped create, and while we were on the phone, she told me, "Tell me who was bullying you." Tell me, like she told me to tell her who was bullying me, because unless I was getting bullied at school, then me wanting to transfer schools meant nothing, when actually it wasn't a person at school, she was the bully. So yeah, on that day, and at the drop of a hat, we were at the hospital again, and she was signing the papers happily, signing me up not for the inpatient program where I got locked up there like the previous 2 times. So it was like I still had to like ride there and back every day for no reason, because at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with me. They tried to put me on she tried to put me on all of these medicines, and I'm thankful that I haven't died because of them. But yeah, I didn't really need medicine. I just needed her to stop acting like a knucklehead and trying to diagnose me herself. Like it went from he has a mood disorder to an oppositional defiant disorder. Then like she has a narcissistic personality disorder. Like we can play this game like all day. Everyone, like if you look hard enough, everyone has something. So yeah, going back to the conditional like fair weather mindset. When I was talking about the medicine, when I was taking the medicine and acting good, she's like, "Oh, the medicine really seems to be working." But the first time that I didn't act like how she wanted, it's like, oh, the medicine isn't working. Like, no, duh, I don't have anything. And getting back to the police stuff, there were 3 times, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, where she called my quote unquote dad. I don't consider him a dad because, like, not even in my life. But yeah, she called him over and he literally pinned me down to the ground, uh, and laid on me, like pressing all of his weight onto me to like try and like restrain me. The first time it was for not getting good grades, which is only like it's because I had to see. But yeah, that's the stuff that I mentioned in 6th grade. But the second and third time, it was because I was being defiant based on her definition. And the third time that it took place, it was at my grandparents' house. And these aren't his parents, they're my mom's parents that I grew up with for my whole life. So the fact that they just sat there and watched a 300-pound guy crush a 120-pound guy was the biggest act of treachery, and nothing can make up for it. It is what it is. They're bad grandparents. It is what it is. I don't want to make this about them. Notice how every time something isn't going her way, she can't stand on her own 2 feet. She needs some type of law enforcement or my dad to feel safe, to feel tough. Well, you're not. It is what it is. This is very problematic because this is a person that never wants to resolve problems. It's either the silent treatment, which is very toxic, or she's calling the police. Like, never wants to resolve problems. Whenever I go to them with the problem, whenever I want to ask, like, hey, why are you mad? It's always the silent treatment until she feels ready. Well, I'm an adult. I'm not dealing with that nonsense anymore. You talk to me like an actual adult, and you don't try and like control situations like that. I'm not gonna feel bad for stuff anymore because you're giving me the silent treatment. You talk to me like an adult, or like I'm just not gonna talk to you. You're just gonna get like left out of my life if you don't want to act right. So, yeah. Speaking of the police, that's why like I'm talking about this stuff today. On my 21st birthday, I was told that we're going to a restaurant to eat, so I agreed. To go to like a restaurant at like I was thinking like 7 o'clock. Go to a restaurant with her, eat something. That's it. What she didn't say was that this was going to be an all-day event, meaning that I missed out on real work. Not only because I have school work, but I also have like videos to make. So this is like I missed out on all of this work. And she didn't say that she was bringing the loudmouths, which ended up being like a bunch of the family. I don't know if I have a condition or something, but I know that my ears hurt in loud places. So if I would have known, if I would have known that they were coming, I never would have went. Fast forward to the next most recent birthday that happened a few months ago, January. She got me out of the house again, and she brought birthday bags into the restaurant, which basically broadcasted it to the whole restaurant that it was my birthday, which like I said that I didn't like that stuff last year. They didn't listen. Like, some folks don't want to share their birthday with everyone. Plus, she took pictures of me, something that I also said that I don't like. Plus, this was a very local restaurant that's just like a walk away with people that I go to school with. And as a college age student, like even like kind of like older, because like I know it's like a lot of folks in my class, like they're like kind of like freshmen, like sophomore. Like I'm 22. But yeah. As a college age student, like getting treated like a kid, it's just embarrassing. Like, especially being around those folks. Like I didn't get like any questions about it, but like this is a very public place. This is very close. And like there was a situation in my like high school year with a relative where I was at a football game. And this person was like, Stin, pull up your pants. And it's like, it's embarrassing because I'm going to this school now. And there's like, I don't know, you just can't be acting like that. But yeah. But yeah. The worst thing was that she lured me into a vulnerable position just to say that we have to talk about something that you might not want to talk about. Kind of like the cancer thing. It's just not the time to unload whatever you're going to say. Because of this, I said that I'm not going to spend any more birthdays with her. And shortly after, she started calling me Mr. Independent. Like she was mad that I wanted to start growing up and stop relying on her, which should be every adult's goal, which should be every parent's goal, to not have to like rely on their kids unless you're a manipulator and like you feed off of that, and like that's how you get your like kicks. That's what makes you happy, like being in control. Like especially as like a 22-year-old guy, like I don't need to be relying on you for everything. I don't need to be like a baby. I just need to be living like a real life, getting ready for the real world. Like I'm about to go out into the real world in like probably like a year, maybe a little bit more. I can't have this stuff still happening. She wants to keep me relying on her so that I never grow up and she has all of the control. So I'm not going for that. After 22 years of living with her, like I can't say that that's a world that I want more of. No. I was denied a chance to develop into an adult, and like when I was out, I was denied a chance to develop into an adult when I was in high school, and I'm taking that chance now. And like I don't want them to mess it up. Yesterday and today, I received calls from the police because of her asking about me when I've not been responding to her text messages. See, notice how like the immediate thought is get the police. Something is wrong with him, rather than apologizing for overreacting and abusing me. But yeah, the truth is, I have her and my grandparents blocked. Anyone that puts me in positions where I have to interact with an abuser will be cut out of my life. Because this person is an abuser, I don't share my college schedule and times when I'll be available. I also requested the police not to give her my status and to take her off the list for being allowed to call in, because at the end of the day, this person has no plausible reason to know where I'm at. I'm a 22-year-old man, for crying out loud, and knowing this information just keeps her heart at ease because she knows as long as I'm alive, the abuse can continue. The only way that communication will start back up is when she apologizes for not only the birthday stuff, but just because of the life of abuse. Or being a never apologize for anything. Like an apology needs to be given. You can't just like get away with this stuff. You need to apologize. You need to change your actions. Either cut her out of the family, or like I'm just not going to interact with her. Stop enabling her. But she hasn't done but like she said that she hasn't done anything wrong, so no apology, which is actually a very flawed way to look at it. Just because you aren't offended, just because you don't feel like you've done anything wrong, just because you feel like you haven't offended anyone, that doesn't mean that you haven't. Like that doesn't mean that you haven't like affected a person and made them feel a certain way. That's just like a flawed way to look at it. Like I said, that's because you feel like you haven't done anything wrong. That doesn't like mean that you haven't done anything wrong. It's a dumb way to look at it. It's just a very selfish perspective, and the fact that they haven't apologized by now means that they're not sorry for anything, and it just confirms everything that I said is right. The last thing that I have to say is that with very young kids in the family, I don't feel comfortable with them being around her, knowing her tactics, knowing her history of abuse. And I've expressed this multiple times, but no one has listened, and like they still leave the kids around her and kind of like shrug this stuff off and like say like, oh, you got to live with this stuff. No, I've already been affected. I just don't want her to get her hands on the next generation, because it's like, hey, like I've seen this stuff firsthand. Like those children have no plausible reason to be hanging out with her, and she does not need to be around the children. It is what it is. At the end of the day, apologies need to be given, and anyone that enables this abuser, puts her at ease, and refuses to call her out will be blocked. Stop enabling abusers. She has abused me for my whole life. She will never change. If you continue to support this behavior, you have been blocked. It's a serious issue, and like I'm just not going through with this nonsense anymore. Like it's time to stand up to abuse.